The secondary qualitative research on how teachers as stakeholders approach mindfulness practice in education has provided valuable information regarding the complexity of the roles mindfulness interventions are playing in addressing student needs as well as supporting teacher well-being needs. In this context, the research demonstrates that teachers overall have positive perceptions of mindfulness interventions, primarily in reducing and preventing negative emotional states and promoting positive affective states among students within classroom settings. Idealistically, teachers see reception in students who practice mindfulness as a way that helps them reduce stress and control their outbursts in class. This emotional stability is usually attributed as the cause of better performance, as students who are calm are likely to engage themselves in study properly. However, the findings of the study support the notion that teachers view mindfulness as a useful teaching strategy for cultivating social competencies explicitly in young learners. In this way, mindfulness helps students to acquire valuable skills, including empathy, self-control, and resilience, that may prevent classroom disruptions and promote positive student behaviors while at the same time helping them cope with school and later life. To the elders, especially to those learners in competitive education systems, mindfulness is seen as a good technique of managing stress and focusing on lessons that are crucial for success.
With interest in mindfulness applications incorporated into school environments, there have been several research studies investigating the effects of mindfulness on learners' well-being and academic performance. Bamber and Schneider, 2020. This calls for the frontline implementers, that is teachers, to use these tools in an assessment of how effective these can be. In this regard, these views are useful in providing insights into how such applications affect the classroom, student conduct and academic achievement. A quick survey with teachers indicates a generally positive view by teachers on the use of mindfulness applications. All of these tools, teachers say, help students become more familiar with how they are feeling and more able to deal with stress. Data cited by the organization American Psychological Association, ARPA, 2021 showed that 76% of teachers reported that their students' anxiety and stress decreased when engaging with mindfulness applications frequently. Not only does this reduce the stress in the classroom, it helps in the bettering of the overall climate of the classroom, but also it helps students to be better at doing tasks academically related. The purpose of putting together mindfulness applications concerns the enhancement of student mental health issues or academic stresses. This becomes important, as this research aims at the feasibility of such applications, not from the user's perspective, not from the technology perspective, but from the teacher's perspective, the ones in the classrooms using these applications. Teachers' perception is very crucial to perceive because these are the people that can see firsthand the daily impact of what goes on in these individuals' living, and these same people see moods and performances of these individuals at school. It also looks at the real-life concerns from classroom practice itself, including the time an instruction allocates and how learners behave in class. Through presenting the advantages and the problems encountered during the study, the research provided an overview, which might be useful towards making educational policy and improving practice. Such reasoning justifies reasons to give teachers sufficient as well as appropriate tools and training to apply while teaching mindfulness applications to promote an increasing positive stance of mutual learning amongst pupils.
Research is exploratory, which is typical of a research study where there is little or no knowledge. Considered specially for the influence on the implementation of mindfulness as a subject, independence on the teacher's experience and subjectiveness to events and practices discussed that can be easily out of the focus of science, such as during the instructors. Unlike other kinds of research, exploratory is an understood method where we as the investigator are permitted to go after leads as we acquire them. The systematic review on the qualitative literature using the exploratory design will be used in this study to explore various approaches that the teachers have used to assess the effects of mindfulness intervention on pupils. An exploratory approach has been adhered to because the aim of this study does not test a hypothesis or theory, and thus the topic under study can be considered from various perspectives. It also serves as a literature gap and as a pointer to further research that could be carried out. The presented research seeks to bridge these gaps in understanding this topic by doing qualitative meta-synthesis of the multiple studies, reports, and articles published in the last 5 years, and focusing the summary of the findings on the themes and pattern. Last, Cuyahoga is finally taking it a bit further in suggesting that mindfulness practices can involve group practices that help students develop empathy amongst each other. For instance, the case study in which the students perform their exercises in class can facilitate a shared experience and construct rapport and a better classroom experience. The connectedness feeling increases positive feeling and helps to build up a positive learning climate and cooperation. According to SDT, these 3 psychological needs provide a broad perspective of how mindfulness will produce different positive outcomes in an education setting. Teachers who are aware that mindfulness practice has no conflict with the principle of SDT will perceive these intercessions more like a useful intervention and will make greater use of them in their classrooms. This theoretical context also provides for the advantage of application of mindfulness to have on student health and performance, along with outlining those most effective strategies for such use.